What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Wally here with a ESO commentary. Now, this is part of my new schedule, and of course, the new schedule is always as tentative, but my plan is to, like I said, upload a Battlefield game, a random ramble with the subtitles taking shots at whatever's on the mind, and then, of course, do a little bit of ESO. This one's more of a how to play a certain class. Now, I know there's ESO is kind of a new game, and this is a little bit different for my channel, but I will say that I really enjoy this game simply because of its opportunity to play in an Elder Scrolls title, kind of in an MMO world. Like, to be real, it's not really an Elder Scrolls game. It's not really an MMO. It's like a mix between the two. It's very hard to put this game into either category. Now, the class I'm playing is the Templar, which is the I would say the closest thing you could get to it is like the priest paladin kind of class. I would probably say in PvP and in PvE, this is the class that I've seen the most. However, I haven't seen that many people really play it well. I don't know if I play it well. I do get the opportunity to heal, and what you're going to see right here is this is the Rifts instances. This is like one of the last areas, level 40 areas. Last tier of actual dungeons. These are the tougher dungeons, the 4-man dungeons that you go on. And this boss right here is a little difficult. You're going to see us wipe right here in the beginning fight. And it's just because we didn't understand mechanics, and I still really don't understand the mechanics of this fight. It took us about 3 times. I cut out all the nonsense, but I did put in the wipe and then the successful attempt to give you a good feel for it. Now, basically with any MMO, I played a healer in the past. Back in World of Warcraft days, I used to play super seriously for a PvE guild and, of course, a PvP guild. I played as an undead holy priest back in the days of Burning Crusade. I was on clear with Karazhan, which isn't like, a huge endeavor, because during the time there were bigger, like I think Sunwell and Black Temple were out, and like my guild was nowhere near it. Did come back during Wrath of the Lich King for a little bit, played a little bit. We had, I think it was like ICC 10-man, like the lower 10-man on clear. And that was always fun. So I know kind of what I'm doing on heals. I know how to manage my mana pretty well and do that kind of stuff. Basically, what I have set up on my bar is that is not Steadfast Ward, but it's an AoE, frontal AoE that does a heal and then puts up a shield. I have it morphed so that players get extra bonus damage, which is always good. Does a little bit more healing. The second on my board is a rapid regeneration, which kind of acts as a consistent heal that's always there. Doesn't cost that much mana. It's always good to have on everybody in the party, especially the tank. The third heal is the ritual healing. Now, this is like the synergies, which is different in MMO that I played, where the Templar has a few synergies, the Dragon Knight has a few synergies, the Sork has some synergies, and the Nightblade has some synergies. And basically what that little circle does is it heals people consistently over time. And then if they hit X, they activate a synergy, and they take 1 negative debuff off them, and of course get healed for around like 170, 200-ish. Also, while they're in that circle, I have it spec'd on my passive so that my heals do extra amounts of healing, which is always great as a healer. But I will be honest when I say I mainly play DPS. It's just an offset for me, an off-spec that I do enjoy. Now, this boss fight isn't too difficult once we figured it out, but basically we kind of understood that you got to run the ads, the little spirit jaguars or panthers, through the boss's poison smoke, or you can just ignore them entirely and have someone in your group kite them and everyone focus DPS on the boss. As you're going to see, we wipe right here. We wipe about 2 or 3 more times after this. This is probably the hardest fight in the instance, I would say, altogether. The rest of the fights are a joke in comparison. But I do like the fact that the instances get much more difficult down the line. Most of the runs that I have seen and have done are very difficult. Crucible is a pretty good one. Some of the fights in the Crucible, which is another 40-man-ish dungeon, are difficult, and they're difficult mechanic-wise, they're difficult heal-wise. The game throws you a lot of curveballs in terms of obviously you have to stay out of the fire, which is the most crucial thing. But mainly, tanking no longer is just being the soak all damage aggro type. You have to block the boss's moves because even as a healer in some of the better tanks that I've seen, they'll still get like 3-shot by a boss if they're not blocking attacks. You know, for me, you see me, I'll block attacks here as a healer. And I'll just sit here and I'll tank and add. And it's possible. We do lose one person in this fight, but we start figuring it out here that once you run the mobs through the smoke, they slow down a little bit. They take a little bit more time to get through, which is a pretty interesting mechanic in general in a fight. Now, I have played a little bit of PvP with this class, and I will say that it is very enjoyable. Caster-based. I tried a little bit of the heavy armor two-handed set, but since most of your abilities in your Adriatic Spear line, your Dawn's Wrath, your Restoration Light, which is basically your 3 different skill lines, all rely on Magicka, mana, and in my opinion, it just makes no sense to not just go caster route, because you only get a certain amount of attribute points, and the more you mix and match those things, the less specialized, I guess, you become. You become more of a hybrid, and in PvP, it just doesn't work for me. I'd rather be a caster, be able to nuke someone, hit them really hard. Now, the 5th thing I have on my bar, the 5th and 4th thing I have on my bar, the 4th one is my heal. It's the big heal, the biggest heal I have. I've seen it crit for about 1,000, which is absolutely ridiculous. Of course, that was on a proper setup I had. Healing Ritual down, and the tank was an Aragonian tank, and Aragonians take about, I think it's like 15% extra healing percentages. So right here is the last boss, and the last boss is pretty much a tank and spank with a few mechanics. You know, she will wind up somebody in the party in a web, and it's basically an immobilized. They can't move until someone in the party comes in, rips them out of the webs. Very cool mechanic. You know, the boss fight is interesting, but again, it's just tank and spank essentially. Not very hard for me to heal. The staff I have using is one of the staffs in the game that is the purple. I believe it's the Ancient Imperial Staff. And the reason I love staffs like this the most is because they are really utilized for healers, because basically once you're sitting there attacking, you get your mana back as you're attacking on top of your regenerations, which is great. The 5th thing I have on my bar is Inner Light Mage's ability, which adds a critical chance. I have it morphed so that there's I think it's like 18% critical chance. It's up to 20 now. So my crit chance as of this video sits at something like 30%. And since there's really no surge rating, besides a few effects you can put on your characters, I think it's very beneficial to stack surge rating in general. I've crit people, I've hit people in PvP for 600-700 damage, which may not seem like a lot, but when your health bar is only 17k, or not 17k, 1700, that's a very hard hit. I am pretty much a paper mache glass cannon, though. If I get caught by a melee, I'm gonna get pooped on. But I really do enjoy this game. I've been having way too much fun, both the PvE and the PvP aspect. I hope the end game is there. I'm not there yet. I think in this video I'm about like a level 40, 41. As of right now, I'm like a 45. But I plan to do more videos like this. I want to do some PvP ones too, and kind of get you a good feel for what the PvP kind of looks like. Up there you see the damage bars, and just, you know, I really only have that up there for DPS. I don't really care about heals per second, because you can kind of cheat the heals per second system with, you know, constant heals, especially regeneration. But as you can see, this is pretty much winding down. I hope you guys enjoyed this commentary, kind of give you a run through of how I play Templar, what's on my bar, and my impressions really of the Elder Scrolls game. Expect more footage from me about this. I want to do one video a week. But I'm still going to keep doing Battlefield footage, so don't worry. I know you guys probably sub mainly for Battlefield, and I have no intention of abandoning it. But I love you guys all very much. That'll do it for me. Peace.